Hey y'all, and welcome to today's video. I am going to be ranking all of the palettes that I tried this year. 2022 palette ranking. I already know this is going to be a long one. I've been prepping for this video for so long, like ranking my palettes, then rearranging them, testing ones that I needed to again, and I've done it. I have all my palettes ranked. We are going to be in this together. I'm going to be showing you the palettes from my least favorite to my most favorite. The palette that I think was like the best palette of 2022. I'm so excited to do this video with y'all. I do want to let you know that if you want to see close-ups of any of these palettes, swatches, like in-depth detailed reviews, definitely look back on my channel, Instagram, TikTok. I'm always posting content with palettes, swatches, close-up, things like that. But today we're just going to be focusing on the ranking. I'm going to give you quick little reviews. And of course, my rankings are based on my personal preference. So if I rank your favorite palette at the bottom, it's okay. We can always disagree on makeup. We all have different preferences, things we like, colors we like, textures we like, formulas we like. But as we go along, I would love to know what you think of these palettes, if you have any of the ones that I'll be ranking, or if I don't have them, or if you just want to tell me your #1 favorite palette. Even if you've been on a low buy and no buy, you've been shopping your stash, tell me the palette that you've loved the most this year. I'm very excited to share my rankings with y'all though, and if you're new here, I want to say hey, my name is Heather and makeup makes me happy. Here on my channel, we don't try to be perfect. We just want to have a good time with our makeup, whatever that means. I do hope that you will subscribe before you leave today because I'm uploading every single day right now, but even outside of Vlogmas, I upload lots of new videos every single week. With all that being said, let's jump into it. Okay, something quick for me to say before we start off with these palettes is, of course, I think my collaboration palette with Adept Cosmetics is the best palette of the year. The day, the week, the month, the century, the best palette to exist. But it's not fair to rank this palette, right? Because of course it's going to be #1. So before you even think it, of course, this is #1. What's higher than #1? That's what this palette is. I made it. I put my heart, my love, everything, multi-chromes, mattes, shimmers, sparkles, everything in this palette. Of course, it's #1, but it's not going to be in this ranking video because I love it. I absolutely love it. Of course, I can't rank it. It's not fair for other palettes to compete with this. Also, like my friend Angelica Nikvist, her palette, I love it. This is my best friend. Like, what do you want me to say? I love her palette. I actually do have a video that I posted earlier this week talking about all the creator collabs. So you can definitely check out that video if you want to see and hear my thoughts on creator collab palettes of this year. I also did a video ranking my ColourPop palettes, so you can see all about that. And I did a video ranking all of my mini palettes because it's just hard to compare a 4-pan palette to like a 16-pan palette, you know, but I did a whole ranking video for those palettes, so definitely check it out. Now, all of that is out of the way. Everything I talk about, I'm going to try to fit in the description box. If it doesn't fit in the description box, I will put some pinned comments. So definitely check there. There will probably be some extra information in the description box and the pinned comment. But now we're ready. Let's talk about the bottom palette of the year. A lot of y'all are probably going to guess this one. Okay, so palette number 82 has to go to this Makeup Revolution Game of Thrones Westeros map. I am taking into consideration price, packaging, color story, performance, everything with this palette. I've gone on and on about this palette on my channel, so I won't spend too much time on it, but the packaging is ridiculous. It angers me as a Game of Thrones fan. I mean, I'm the mother of dragons. How could they play me like this? The packaging doesn't line up. The shade names are randomly placed. A lot of people have speculated that maybe the shade names are where the towns are on the map. It's not. Pull up a map of Westeros and you will see that this packaging is absolutely stupid. It was way too expensive. If you see this palette for like $7, maybe because the shadows are workable. You can put in the effort and you can create a pretty eye look. It's definitely not going to be easy to get a great eye look, but it is going to be possible. But way too expensive. Way too expensive for the quality. And honestly, the lazy, ridiculous, almost offensive packaging, because like I'm offended that they put that packaging out for people to buy. What did I say? That was palette 82. So this is palette 81. Yes, 81. This is the e.l.f. Cookies and Dreams palette. Now, I give this palette a little bit of slack because it was not very expensive at all. And again, it is workable. I did find with this palette, I had to work harder than I should, you know? And just because it's inexpensive doesn't mean it shouldn't be good quality eyeshadows, because you are going to see further on in our rankings, I do have some drugstore priced palettes higher up, and ColourPop is producing great eyeshadows. This palette, I was just underwhelmed. Some of the shades were good. Some of the shades I really had to work with. Like, I don't know, just overall not the best. Okay, coming in at the number 80 spot are these 3 palettes from JCat. These were all part of the same collection from JCat Beauty. So Traffic Night Bouquet. I mean, these were really beautiful color stories. I had never tried JCat Beauty until these. This one is Storm Simulation. This color story I was so attracted to. And then we had Jungle Roar. So I bought the 3 of these palettes because there was a bundle deal. And I made a video. I actually created 2 looks with each palette and then kind of a 7th look using them all. And with those palettes, the quality was just so inconsistent. There were some shades in there that I was like, wow, this is a really, really beautiful high quality. There were other shades that I really had to work with. Some shades that were just like the quality of eyeshadows that we had in like 2004, you know? So for the inconsistency in those palettes, I just couldn't rank them much higher. But if you have those, I definitely don't think they're bad palettes. All of the looks that I created when I used those, I thought they were pretty looks, but I do think those palettes could definitely be better. And it's kind of like made me hesitate on trying more from the brand. Okay, this next palette is Lois Cosmetics Meet Me at Midnight. This palette, so Lois Cosmetics only have one other palette from them, and it's Meet Me in the Underworld, and I love that palette. It was one of my favorite palettes of 2021, actually. So I was super excited for this one, like so hyped. And while I think this palette is good, I don't think it lived up to the expectation that I have for Meet Me at Midnight. I definitely had to work harder with these shadows. Now, that's going to be a theme that you see in a lot of these palettes that are ranking lower is I want to have a good experience with my makeup. I enjoy the makeup process. I don't mind, like I like to pack and blend and create, but when I have to just really manipulate a shadow to get it to be nice, that's when I'm kind of like, okay, I don't really want to reach for you again. And some of the shades in this palette are really beautiful. Some of them definitely take more packing on, slowly blending. Some of these you kind of have to like start with your dark shade and then go to the light shade, and you can't necessarily like deviate from that, because I'm somebody who really likes to mix up my techniques. Sometimes I want to go light to dark. Sometimes I want to go dark to light, you know, and this palette, I definitely feel like you have to start dark and go light. Not a bad palette, just not a favorite. Okay, coming in at 78 is the Urban Decay She-Hulk. If you watched my video, you know I had an absolutely terrible customer service experience with Urban Decay. I mean, like they were gaslighting me. It was crazy. But looking at this palette, I mean, She-Hulk is green. Everybody and their mama was telling me, oh, well, you know, when she's not in her Hulk form, she wears basic makeup. Okay, like those palettes are a dime a dozen. You're creating a She-Hulk palette, And the color story was kind of a letdown, but I still had high hopes. Overall, I thought the shadows were fine. Like, it's a good palette. I can't say anything bad about it, but for the price and for the theme, it's just boring. It's not, these shadows are not something you need to pay whatever this was, $40, $50 for. This is like a $15 quality palette, in my opinion. Y'all, I have checked that I have numbered and ordered these palettes correctly so many times. I'm putting the number on the screen for y'all though, because I just don't trust that I got it right, and I'm scared I'm gonna like put something out of order. This is number 77. This is Dear Mom from Jaclyn Cosmetics. This was the first palette that the brand put out, I think. I may be wrong, but I think. And even though it is an incredibly neutral palette, I wanted to test it because, listen, of course I love color. You see what I got on today, but I love neutrals too. I love exciting neutrals, different textures, different formulas. And let me just go ahead and say, this silver shade is really beautiful. This is a standout shade in the palette. Really, really, really pretty. But this palette was almost too personal. I understand that Jaclyn and her mom may like shades that are so similar to each other, but when you're putting out a product for the masses, I just felt like these were too repetitive and just a little bit lackluster, you know. I actually am planning to give this palette to my mom. I've been holding on to it because I knew I wanted to rank it at the end of the year, and a lot of times I'm like, even with palettes that I don't love, I want to test them again before I rank them to make sure I really have my thoughts. So I'm actually going to give this palette to my mom. I think she will really, really like it because it does have a lot of very light tones, some mid-tones, and just two deeper shades down here. So I think my mom is really going to like this. Very gently pigmented. I mean, not bad, just not my favorite. I prefer a little more impact when I'm working with neutrals. Okay, next up, I have the Beetlejuice and Revolution palette. Listen, I bashed the Game of Thrones, but I'm pleasantly surprised. I think this palette was like $10. I got it at my local Walmart, and I think it's nice. It's not the best eyeshadow I've tried, of course not, but I think this color story is really nice. I think the packaging is really nice, and I think the shadows performed really pretty. Like, I had a good experience using this. I like this warmer purple color story with just enough neutral, so I'm hopeful for Makeup Revolution. Next up, I have the Dose of Colors Truffle eyeshadow palette. One, I really like this packaging. It's like this soft touch matte. I think it's cute, monochromatic. The shadows in here are really good. The only reason this is ranking a little bit lower is because it's very light. We do have some deep shades. I do like that, but I do think this could go a little deeper. These two shades, they are different enough, yes, but for my personal preference, when I'm comparing it to other palettes, there are just palettes I enjoy more. This is a mostly mattes palette with 6 of the shades being mattes, 2 being shimmers. So for my personal preference, it's just ranked a little lower. Okay, at number 74, I have the Urban Decay Wild Greens. First of all, this packaging, amazing. Urban Decay should keep with the fun packaging. They used to be a fun brand, you know, but Wild Greens, I don't know about that. I know people have told me why it's named that. I personally don't agree that that's a good name for this palette, okay? But the shadows inside are nice. I enjoyed this. I bought this palette when it released, and it gave me a lot of hope for the brand because I'm like, okay, like, they're going to start doing something fun. The packaging was fun, and then, you know, we had She-Hulk. But this is a good palette. Is it my favorite palette? No, because it is very light mid-tone, but the quality in here is nice, and honestly, I like the packaging. Everybody's ready to unsubscribe because at number 73, I'm putting the Huda Beauty Empowered palette. I stand by what I think of this palette. I think this is a good palette. I think it is not a palette that I love. I think it takes a little more work. I definitely don't enjoy these cream shades at all. It's just not my favorite. There are palettes that I like better, formulas I like better. Not a bad palette. Not a bad palette. I'm not saying I hate this palette. I'm not saying it's the worst palette in the world. I'm just saying I don't love it. But I am glad that I bought it because I know so many people absolutely love the Huda Beauty eyeshadows. So I'm glad I got this palette so I could test it out and get my thoughts on it. Okay, coming in at number 72 is the Jaclyn Cosmetics Strawberry Feels palette. This palette, the mattes are really good in this palette. Very easy to work with. Every matte shade applied really beautifully, and I really like this color story. I like that we have this neutral row up top, and I like that we have this pinky row down bottom. I love that we have a matte white in here. I think that adds some versatility. I like that we have a dark matte. This palette would have ranked higher if the two shimmer shades would have been better. These shimmer shades are very like, it's just where shimmer shades were, you know, 7, 8, 9 years ago. They're smooth, they're fine, but there's nothing special about them. And I just feel like the shimmer formula should be a little elevated. But the mattes in this palette are so good. If those two shimmer shades would have been better, this would have ranked much higher. Okay, next up at number 71, I have MAC Black Panther. This palette was good. I enjoyed this. This one is a new formula for MAC. I really wish the shades were printed on the inside instead of this plastic insert, but I think the packaging is cool. I really like this palette. I really like the looks, but I will say I'm a little disappointed this was a navy and not a black for Black Panther. People have argued with me that this is a black. Swatch it. It's a blue. Watch my video. It's a blue. Go on the MAC Cosmetics website. It's a blue, but it's very pretty. I do think it would have been nice to maybe swap out one of these shades with a black and a silver to kind of more match the Black Panther vibes, but overall, good. Okay, Makeup Revolution. The best palette that I tried from them this year, even though I didn't try much, was their Coraline palette. This one makes me really excited for what the brand is going to do in the future. This is a really pretty cool tone purple with a little bit of blue and a little bit of black and silver. I love that we have this diagonal row of gray, silver, and black. I think that gives versatility to the palette. I love that we have this kind of vanilla shade and then these cool tone purples. This was good. It did take some work, but the palette was like $10. I can roll with that. Next up, we have the Profusion Ethereal palette. The packaging is nothing to write home about, not the nicest, but the formulas inside here are really, really pretty. You have a couple of shades that are very, very sparkly. They have this pretty little shift to them. The mattes were easy to work with. You do have to pack a little bit more if you want to create depth with these shades, but this palette, again, priced really, really well and really nice shadows. Next up is this palette. This is the Bee palette from Lena Beauty. I will link this down below. I have not seen much from this brand since this palette released, but first of all, love, love, love the packaging. And then opening it up, this is, whoops, a really, really cool design. So this is from a Louisiana-based indie brand. This palette has a very yellow-leaning color story, which of course it makes sense for the theme. I really love that we have some sparkly special shades. We have some nice smooth metallics. We have some dark shades, some light shades. I feel like this palette is really pretty, really well thought out, but it is very yellow-leaning. So if you're not into yellows and golds, this wouldn't be the palette for you, but I had a good experience with this palette and I've enjoyed it. At 67, I have my Klarity Cosmetics Apocalypse Pressed Pigment Palette. Love the packaging. Love the packaging. I love that this was a Halloween palette that isn't just orange and black. It has this graveyard feel that I think is so cool. And I thought the color story inside was really fun too. This was a pricey palette, but I understand that because you do get several multi-chromes in here. I will say this is not my favorite multi-chrome formula. It's very beautiful, but I did feel like I had to build it up and layer it a bit on the lid to get it to full opacity, which is fine. I don't mind doing that at all. I created looks that I really like with this palette. And I do wish in the mattes there was just a little more variety. I mean, this is more of a purpley gray, this is more of a blue gray, this is more of a green gray. They're not the same shade, and I'm not saying that they are at all, but I do wish that we just had a shade that was deeper and a shade that was very light for like highlighting, especially the inner corner. I think if this shade had included two more, maybe like a slate gray matte, something deep, dark, almost black, or even just a straight up black, and then maybe like a pink to blue to white multi-chrome that could be used on the inner corner, this palette probably would have ranked higher for me. But I do really like this palette. I think it's really nice. I like this fun color story. I love the shifty multi-chromes, and I really hope they keep putting out like fun Halloween releases like this, because I loved their take on it. Okay, this was one of the most surprising palettes for me, and coming in at number 66 is my Tarte Man Eater After Dark palette. I love the packaging. It looks like a laptop, and I'm here for that. And then opening it up, this, listen, normally Tarte palettes are not for me. This color story, I was like, ooh, you're the kind of neutrals I like. We got light mattes, deep mattes. We have warm tone mattes. We got a yellow. We got some purples. Now, I will say, the colorful shades in this palette are lackluster. The neutrals, really, really beautiful. All these more neutrally tones perform beautifully. I like that we have several different formulas in here. Like this is more of a traditional shimmer, whereas, where are we? This one right here, these two, super wet, foiled looking on the lid. The yellow took a little bit of work. The yellow should be a bit more pigmented, as well as the green and these kind of berry tones down here. But the neutral shades, absolutely beautiful. If you're looking for a neutral, not boring palette that you can walk into Sephora or Ulta and buy, I would definitely recommend this one. I think it's really, really nice. I just have other formulas and palettes that I prefer more, but I do think this one's really pretty. Okay, next up at number 65, I think we have the MAC Stranger Things palettes. I ranked these together. These launched together. We do have the Property of Hawkins. What is this? Hawkins Class of 1986 eye palette. This one, really good. This has some traditional MAC formulas. I thought they were very, very nice. I had a great time working with these. I am a fan of the Stranger Things show, so I had to get these. My favorite, of course, is the Void eyeshadow palette. So this one is the darker based on color preference. This one is my favorite of the two, but I really like this. We have a nice mix of mattes and shimmers and dark shades, light shades. The packaging, top notch. Next up at 64, I have Game Beauty. This is a Cyberpunk palette. This palette is very bright, very, very fun. I do like that we have this deeper purple. We have a really pretty yellow and some really pretty shimmer shades in here. I think this is the only palette that Game Beauty released this year, so I'm excited for what they have coming next year, but I like this one. Okay, I have here with me number 63, Netflix, the Winx, Saga, and NYX. I've said before that this is the most forgettable show ever. I had forgot I watched the show. I reviewed this collection, everything. I was telling my husband, and he's like, we've watched that show. I'm like, oh, I forgot all about it. This was fun. I liked that we had these 3 blushes down the center. NYX has been doing these ombre blushes for so long. I'm glad that they included one in the palette. There are some shades of eyeshadows that I thought were good, not great, but then like this shade right here, this Quiet Soul, really, really beautiful, as well as Empathetic Blast and Light Depression, sorry. So overall, really enjoyed this palette. All right, here is Lethal Cosmetics, the 1-Up palette. This one, ooh, I like this color story. This is really, really, really pretty. I like that we have this deep, dark, kind of teal blue type of shade. I really like that we have these bright pinks. It's just very fun take on like gaming inspired makeup. Even the packaging being this weird shape, I didn't mind it so much because like it still has a flat edge. It's easy to store like this, and it's not too big and bulky. But these shimmers I really, really like. This shade down here, this yellow, was a lot of fun to work with. Okay, next I have the Martine Cosmetics Mission Triple X. I'm like, yes, I don't want to say that wrong. This palette was really fun. If you were looking for some cool gray tones, definitely check this palette out because you have dark gray, mid-tone gray, very light gray, shimmery gray, black, variety of cool tones interspersed with a little one punch of purple, one punch of blue, some greens, and some yellow. This one was fun. I think Martine Cosmetics puts out interesting color stories and really pretty. I like their mattes. I like their shimmer formula. Really, really nice palette. Okay, I'm gonna try not to gush over the palettes the higher and higher we get, because of course as we move up the rankings, there are palettes I just like more and more and more, and I want to talk about them and love on them, but I'm gonna try to refrain from doing that. I hope I'm counting correctly. We should be at number 60, and that is What's Up Beauty. This is the Geodes palette. This one is really, really pretty. The formulas in here are very nice, very sparkly. It would have ranked higher for me if it had some deeper matte shades. Just personal preference. This one is deep and nice, but it's the only deep matte shade I have, which kind of limits my options. But I really like the formula. I really like the palette that What's Up Beauty did last year, so I can't wait to see what they do for 2023. And I do want to kind of throw out there my little, like, I know we talked in the beginning, but the more we get up, like, you've heard me say all of these palettes, none of these that I tried were just terrible palettes that you can't do anything with. And I feel like makeup's just come a long way. There are good formulas that I tried. There are great formulas. They're amazing. And then there are just like out of this world formulas. So just bear that in mind. You'll kind of notice, like, I'm not necessarily like trashing on any of these palettes except for that Game of Thrones one because it angers me. It makes my blood boil. But I just feel like makeup formulas have come so far that, you know, a lot of these shadows you can make looks with if you really put in the effort. But we're just there are just so many great palettes. Like that What's Up Beauty palette, a great palette. We're just getting into a lot of my preference. Now I have the Bunnies palette from Unearthly Cosmetics. This one is so cute. Like, they look so cute. And I love, love, love these pastel shades. This palette is very easy to use because you have a matte shimmer, a matte shimmer, a matte shimmer. Like, you have corresponding. You want to do 2 eyeshadows. It's easy. It's done for you. I love Unearthly quality. Then I have a Fantasy Cosmetica Sorcerer palette. This one, really fun color story. Very, very bright mattes. We have a deep dark one down here, some pretty multi-chromes and shimmer shades. This is a fun, what I think of like a summery color story. Really, really enjoy Fantasy Cosmetica. So excited to see them launch this year and just put out some really good makeup. Next up, I have the Mattes Pressed Pigment Palette from Sugar Drizzle. This one I have to be careful with because I do have one broken shade. This palette is full of purples. If you are a purple lover, here's your matte palette. You're good for the rest of your life. It does have those couple of shades of like the turquoises, which I think is really fun. And I've had fun pulling this palette in with my all shimmer palettes. All right, I have the ABH, what is this one called? I put my Post-it note, Rose Metals. I have Post-it notes numbering these, so I should be right on the numbers. But this palette is fun. This was supposed to be inspired by like 90s grunge, I believe. I like that we have these warm tone neutrals with kind of these metal shades. ABH was a surprise this year. They came out with new palettes after being on a palette break for a while. They put them in these beautiful square pans, new style packaging, and the formulas are definitely elevated. All right, at number 55, I have Nars. This is their like holiday palette for the year. I'm going to be careful opening this. It's very, very hard to open. I know somebody was like, well, it's because you have long fingernails. No, it's not. It's just hard to open. And a lot of y'all have told me that it's difficult for you too. This was such an unexpected surprise from Nars. Really, really enjoy this. We have dark shades, light shades, and we have more than just one pop of color. We have these neutrals, yes, but we have this berry matte, this lavender kind of like satin shade, a couple of colorful shimmers. Very, very fun. I hope Nars continues on with this like unexpected little bits of color in their palette. All right, next I have Laura Lee Los Angeles Whimsical Nudes. This one is newer to my collection, but I've enjoyed this. This is a fun neutral palette, in my opinion. This is what I go for when I go for neutrals. You have really nice matte shades that go from light to dark. You have a couple of like unexpected kind of mattes. You know, this is, some people would say it's a warm brown. I would definitely say it leans a little like terracotta. We have this beautiful deep olive, some fun green tones, and then you have some neutrals. So unexpected, very fun. Disney, Fantasia, and One Size. I really liked this. This was my first time trying One Size shadows. Now this is a face and eye palette. You can see you have eyeshadows, you have topper shades, and you have blushes. The topper shades were unexpected. There's one that's like a blue purple shift, and it really can transform the look, or you can keep it nice, neutral, simple. I'm really, really happy I purchased this palette, and I'm definitely gonna be interested in whatever they release next. Okay, Genuine Gems from Simply Posh. You'll see another one of their palettes a little bit higher up, but I really enjoyed this. This year was the first time I ever tried the brand Simply Posh. And this is a beautiful color story. I totally get the gemstone inspiration from this. I love that we have 12 different colorful matte shades with 6 beautiful like duochrome sparkly shades. Really, really pretty. I'm not sure if you can tell. You can definitely go watch my video on this, but these pans are all magnetic, so you can definitely pop them up, pop them out, rearrange them, mix them with your other Genuine Gems palette if you want. Really nice. All right, at number 51, I put Martine Cosmetics, Martine's Diner palette. This formula from Martine I really enjoy, and I really like this color story. Now with Martine Cosmetics, you're going to get really, really good solid mattes and really pretty shimmer shades. The shimmers are very, very smooth. All the mattes are very easy to work with. I love that it goes from light to dark. You're going to hear that repeated, and I love the whole diner vibe. I like the embossings on the pan, and I've never had a problem with their shadows. They just perform how they should perform. It's always very easy and effortless and pretty when I finish using one of their palettes. Okay, I think we're in the top 50 if I've numbered correctly, and I put the Melt Cosmetics Mini Bad Side Zodiac, whatever these are called. Let's talk about these quickly. I thought these were nice. I just expected something a little more grand and extravagant from Melt for holiday, but I do really like these. I created a look with each of these palettes swatches, and I love Melt, so anytime they release something I'm interested, and I thought these palettes were nice. We have Air right here, really pretty pinky purple color story. We have Fire right here with this more red orange color story. I have Earth, which is probably my favorite one. And we've got yellows and greens and warm leaning neutrals. I do want to say I really like the packaging on these. It feels weighted and heavy and nice, and I like that. And then we have Water, probably my second favorite of these. This one is blue, but this is not like the Blueprint palette. I did have a couple of people asking me. Definitely different blue tones, but really, really pretty. I enjoyed these. Just above those, I have the Pat McGrath, what is this? Artistry palette. No, Mothership Mega Celestial Nirvana. So Pat McGrath has done this palette, I think 3 years now, this large kind of holiday palette, and it's really pretty. It's really large. These have really nice formulas from Pat McGrath. It doesn't have her special shades, you know, her super sparkly, shifty type of shades, but you do get some different formulas of shimmer. This shade, really, really beautiful right here. This kind of icy blue lavender shade. This one being a little more sparkly, kind of wet looking with the gold. But what I love most about this palette is all these Pat McGrath colorful mattes. I've been waiting on that, and she gave it to us this year, and it makes me so very happy. Okay, Blend Bunny Primal is coming in at number 48. Listen, all the palettes that I'm ranking high, that I'm talking lovely about, I would buy again. Like, I would buy again. Would buy again. I really like this. This is a bright rainbow palette. Rainbow meaning Roy G. Biv. Y'all know, right? It hits all the colors. I love that we have these kind of lighter pastels, these vibrant mid-tone shades, these deep dark shades, and beautiful shimmer formulas with a big white and a big black, so you can create and blend all you want. All right, next up I have the Lunar Beauty 12 Days of Lunar. I wasn't sure if I should put this in the ranking or not, but because it was the advent calendar palette, but I really like it, so I decided to include it. It definitely does not match the outside of the packaging, but I'm not surprised because the advent calendar is supposed to be unexpected. I do really like the shadows inside of here. I think this is really nice. Lunar Beauty is one of my favorite indie brands. Indie brand, when I talk about that, just so you know, in case you're new here, indie brand means independently owned brand. It means it's owned by an individual or two individuals, you know, something like that. It's not like it's owned by a huge parent company like, you know, Estee Lauder that owns Too Faced. It's nothing like that. It's independently owned. So I really like this palette. Next up, you know, most of the palettes that I love are indie brand, and y'all aren't surprised, right? Melt Cosmetics is also an indie brand, and I really enjoyed Gemini too. This is so pretty. I have the original Gemini. I have loved it for years, so I was so happy when they said Gemini was going to get a sister, and I thought they did such a good job with these greens and then these pinky tones. Okay, number 45 is the Electrum Cosmetics Sea Witch palette. The first time I tried this brand was when I bought their collab palette that I talked about earlier this week, but the Sea Witch palette is really, really pretty. I really like the multi-chromes in here. This shade down here, Lorelei, really, really beautiful, sparkly multi-chrome. I really enjoyed the looks I created with this palette. I think it's super, super duper beautiful. Next up, I have Zombified from Jolie Beauty. This is their neon palette, and I thought this was such a fun one for Halloween. I know a lot of people were telling me in my video, it glows under the black light. That is cool. Y'all live a really cool life. That's all I can say. I am not frequently in places where I'm under a black light, so I wouldn't know if that's the case. But I've really enjoyed playing with this palette. Sorry, I just have to laugh at myself because I'm like, when would I have the opportunity to test that? I don't know. This, listen, if you're looking for a neon palette, this is your girl right here, because you have the range of neons. The quality is so good, and I'm gonna say it, you're gonna get sick of me. They have a matte white, they have a matte black. It makes the palette versatile. There are 2 pressed glitters in here, but there are also really sparkly, wet looking, beautiful shades in here too. 10 out of 10, love this palette. Love, love, love. So happy to have it in my collection. And I like pulling this in with other palettes, especially with jewel tones. If I want to add a matte neon inner corner, if I want to buff out with something like this, I really, really enjoy this. Cannot recommend it enough. Okay, this palette got a lot of hate from people. I really enjoy it. This is the Natasha Denona Retro Glam. This is a very light mid-tone palette, but we have her cream to powder formula that I love. I love this muted, it is like a retro glam. It's very retro color story. I love Natasha Denona shadows. I love Natasha Denona shadows. I will say that over and over and over and over again. I think her formulas are amazing. She gives you shimmers, mattes, cream to powder mattes, sometimes multi-chromes, really sparkly shades, really smooth shades. She gives you variety. For that, I'm always interested in her palettes. All right, what are we on? 42, the Daily Grind from Unearthly Cosmetics. I love this smaller pan format from Unearthly. I love this color story. I love that we have a couple of greens. I love that we have a pink. I love that we have a bronzy shade. And then we have these fiery, warm oranges. Like, just delicious. I just want to drink a glass of orange juice. I don't know. It's so beautiful. The shadows perform beautifully. I created 2 looks with this. Yes, love it. This one from Juvia's Place was unexpected. This is the Garden of Juvia's. I don't know why, but I did not expect Juvia's Place to come out with the pastel palette. But when they did, I knew it would be good because Juvia's Place makes great pigmented matte shadows, beautiful sparkly shimmer shadows at a great price point. This is truly beautiful. I love, if you want neutral look, you have just enough to get the job done. But I love that we have these pinky purple tones. I love that we have these kind of green yellow tones. Really, really, really beautiful. We do have like this one kind of green blue shimmer. There are no blue pastel-y shades in this one though. I do really, really enjoy this though. I think the quality is so good. If this color story appeals to you, I think you'll really like this. Okay, next up I have the Fairy Tale Fairies palette from Simply Posh. This was the first palette I tried from the brand and I was like, oh yeah, this is a good brand. This is a brand that knows how to do shadows. This is beautiful, right? This one only ranked higher than the Genuine Gems palette because of this color story calls to me. I love these tones. I love that we have the dark shades. I love that we have this bright, like neon pastels up here. I love that we have these shimmery shades. Again, beautiful mirror. Packaging on point. You can pop these shadows out, rearrange them, mix them with Genuine Gems if you want to. Really, really pretty. This brand is definitely on my radar. I'm always looking for what they release. It's so pretty. This palette is new to my collection. I have been working my little behind off, making sure I test it so I can review. The Martine Cosmetics Ski Palette, number 39. I love this. Can y'all believe we're in the top 40? Good grief. This color story. The quality in this is the same consistent quality that I enjoy from Martine Cosmetics. This ranks higher because of this color story. It calls to me, it speaks to me. I love these greens, this like grungy green. I love these reds. Beautiful. I did a very colorful look with this palette and I did a very neutral look with this palette. So definitely check that video out if you're curious, but I really like this one. Okay, Beauty Bay is making its first appearance in our rankings. This is the new Mood palette. This is number 38, I hope. And oh, this is a pretty color story, isn't it? Neutrals and colorful shades. Beauty Bay really likes to put duochromes in their palettes like this. And when it comes to Beauty Bay, I love their curated palettes where you have a fun color story like this hot pink with this white to pink duochrome. Then we have a white to blue duochrome down here. Really kind of like smushy metallic shades, really beautiful shimmers, really beautiful mattes. Great price point. It keeps getting harder as we go. I have the Unearthly Cosmetics Sleepover palette. First of all, I want to be friends with them. I want to be on this packaging. It's so cute. And then opening it up, we do have these magnetic removable pans. And this is a fun, bold color story that fits in that pinky mauve theme. I love this berry tone. I love this like black with purple, red, pink shimmer sparkles. This white to gold shade right here. Every shadow in this palette performs beautifully. I really love the color story. Really enjoy this one. Next, I have New Mod from Sigma Beauty. I love this packaging. I love this vibe. I love Sigma Beauty. This palette is beautiful. We have half neutral shades and half mauvey pinks. What makes this palette stand out, and I've said it 100 times, I'll keep saying it, this blue to purple shade right here gives versatility to the palette that I love. I love that we have just enough brown shades that if you just want to create a neutral brown look, you can do that. Or you can spice it up with these pinky mauve tones. The Sigma quality, amazing, 10 out of 10. Okay, here I have Blend Bunny, the Dollhouse. This palette was my favorite Blend Bunny palette for a while, but we're gonna see one even higher up. This one is the perfect neutral palette for the color lover, or the perfect colorful palette for the neutral lover. Look, you got neutral tones. You also have some olives. You also have some mauves. You also have some purples and a little bit of orange. This row looks very deep dark, but these are not all the same shades, okay? This is a deep dark brown. This is a deep dark purple, cool toned. This is a black. This is a deep dark cool toned brown, whereas this is warm toned. This is a deep dark warm toned purple, whereas this is cool toned. This is more on the like deep dark mauve side, and then a deep dark brown with a green undertone. So a lot of versatility here. I love that we do have 2 rows of shimmer shades. They're very beautiful, very sparkly. We have light shades, mid-tone shades, mattes. If you don't know what to do, stick to the columns. You're gonna get like an easy but beautiful eye look. Okay, the first palette that Fantasy Cosmetica ever released is the Druid palette. This one really beautiful. This is coming in at number 34. This palette I got from Fantasy Cosmetica and was like, love. Yes, you know what you're doing as a brand. Very beautiful. We have 4 matte shades. We have multi-chrome, shimmer, and sparkle shades. I love this grungy forest color story. So beautiful. Very excited for what Fantasy Cosmetica is going to be doing in the future, and you're going to see them again in our ranking. Okay, Anastasia Beverly Hills. This palette, this was the surprise. This was the surprise for me. Love the packaging. Really like this color story. Have high hopes for ABH as a brand because they have definitely elevated their formula. When I bought this palette, I was interested to see, is this palette the old ABH formula, which was good, but eyeshadows have come a long way since then. So have they improved it? And they have. Really beautiful. This shade, very sparkly, very pretty. Then we do have some kind of smoother shimmer shades. We have beautiful mattes. Really enjoy this. Love this purple matte lilac. I think this is a really good quality palette. Glaminatrix Glamorous Palette. I love this packaging. Love this kind of like faux leather packaging. I think it's so luxe. And then we have a beautiful color story inside. It's mainly kind of a purple toned palette. I love that we have these green blues right here in this quad. I love that we have this deep dark purple and this bright vibrant yellow. Glaminatrix makes really great eyeshadows. Really enjoy them. They just make really pretty shadows. Very sparkly shades. This is an Australian based indie brand, and I've had a great experience ordering from their site. Some of the palettes that I'm talking about today were sent to me in PR, and some of them I purchased myself. So I don't think I said that in the beginning, but I'll just throw that out there. Again, I do have videos on all of these, but at number 31, I have the Hypernova palette from Sugar Drizzle. This was another surprise from the brand, and I will say, I talked about the Sugar Drizzle matte palette earlier. That's the only all matte palette you'll see in this ranking. All shimmer palettes, my favorites of the year, I will put those in my yearly favorites video, but I didn't necessarily know where to put those in the ranking. Like, I felt like I could put the one matte palette in this video. So this palette from Sugar Drizzle is the only other Sugar Drizzle palette you'll see, but you will see them again in my yearly favorites video, okay? This color story is very inspiring to me. We have this like cool tone magenta shade. I'm into it. We have this beautiful warm tone brown here. We have this cool toned gray blue. We have a bright lime green. I love the shimmers. Everything is just so pretty with this palette. In my video, I want to say I did 2 looks. See, I have to think, like, what did I film? What did I just do on my own? What did I, you know, like, but I did a colorful look and a neutral look, and the quality of this is really, really good. I really enjoyed this. There's no multi-chromes in this palette, just really beautiful shimmers, and I would love to see more in this format from Sugar Drizzle. Okay, top 30, I have the new Ace Beauty palettes. We have Aura and Envy. So Aura has this really pretty purple berry color story. Not only the formula that Ace Beauty has now is beautiful. The mattes work from light to dark, dark to light. It doesn't matter. They layer beautifully. The shimmers are so beautiful. This color story also makes it so high for me, because with these purples, we kind of have this unexpected section down here, right? Really great quality. And then Envy too. I feel like this is a bit unexpected. We have these beautiful blues with the greens, but then this column over here makes it fun. This yellow leaning green, this olivey tone, and then this like the warm brown shade. I really like this. I think Ace Beauty did a great job on the packaging, the color story, the formulas. Really love these. Okay, more Beauty Bay coming in at 49. I put their monochromatic palettes. These palettes launched, I want to say, in March, and I've really enjoyed these. I will say I like when Beauty Bay plays with different color stories, but I just enjoyed these so much. That's why they're ranking so high. Now, the berries, I have the 16 pan. Whoop, there's a little fuzzy. Probably a dog hair, because I had this sitting on the floor for my ranking. But we have beautiful light to dark berry tones, beautiful shimmers. In the Beauty Bay palettes, you do get different shimmer formulas. So we have some super sparkly shimmers, some more smooth shimmers. So that was berries. And then I have earthy right here. Really, really beautiful green tones. I like this one a lot. We have some vibrant minty greens, true greens, some bright kind of and grungy greens down here. Really beautiful shimmers in this one. And then we also have the Midnight palette. This one, if you're looking for blues and purples, you got that. This one is the one that's not really monochromatic like the green and the berries. This one, you do have blues as well as purples. You have a black and a silver shade here. So this is the only one that's not truly monochromatic, but the quality in all three of those is great, and that's why they're so high. Okay, here we have 1964 from Unearthly Cosmetics coming in at number 28. I think Unearthly killed it with the Halloween releases this year. I love this one based on like the Munster family. We have multi-chrome in here, very, very intense sparkly shades, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful mattes. Love, love, love this palette. I did a look taking all 4 of the Unearthly Halloween palettes, and I did 4 looks. Like 1 look for each, and I love the palette so much and was having so much fun playing with them. I was like, I have to do a follow-up video. So I did a 7-look video, 1 look with each of the Halloween palettes, and then 1 look with each of the quads that they released. So I have a lot of fun with this one. I think it's really, really, really beautiful, and you know, what can I say? It's beautiful. Okay, Ace Beauty Palette palette coming in at number 27. This palette had a game, and in the video I did with this palette, I did one eye with the game picked. It's like a flip card game, and then I did one eye what I would do, and that was a lot of fun. But outside of the game, this is a beautiful, beautiful palette. The mattes in here are amazing. The shimmers, beautiful. This is a fun color story. We definitely have this column of purples with some berry tones. We have some blues. We do have some neutral shades, some olives, and some pinks. Very, very fun. I will say this palette, more than others, I would say I have questions about like, oh, do you think this palette is like this one? And they're always trying to, like, people are always asking me to compare this to other things. But I think this color story is really, really unique, and I haven't found anything that I'm like, yes, that is the same color story. Definitely different, definitely beautiful. I'm really excited. Like, when Ace Beauty announced this and I saw the game and I saw the palette, I was like, yes, take my money. I was there on launch day buying this palette up. All right, 26 is Fantasy Cosmetica, the Bard palette. I bet y'all knew this was going to come really high in my ranking because this is a beautiful palette. Beautiful shimmers, duochromes, sparkly shades, and the mattes in here are so well thought out. I love the yellow, the orange, the dirty olive, and this kind of burgundy maroon shade with these shimmers. I feel like the blue is an unexpected choice, but it works so well in this palette, and it allows you to create some unexpected looks to where you don't, I mean, it's 9 pans. So for a 9-pan palette that is a limited color story, I love that they gave us this option to add in and do something unexpected. Really, really enjoy this palette. Really enjoy this formula. Okay, Beauty Bay Dark Fantasy. I'm sure some of y'all were like, where is this one gonna fall? Because this is a curated color story from Beauty Bay that I enjoy. It's deep, it's dark, it's a dark fantasy for sure, but there's just enough neutral shades that you can get your neutral look. We have 2 different silvers in here that I love. Beautiful. We have blue, we have green. This is a great curated color story. I mean, it's what? A 20-pan palette, so you have plenty of options, but they still did a good job of creating a nice, pleasing color story. And the formula of Beauty Bay, it's so good and it's such a good price. Oh, I didn't think we're in the top 25. This was 25. 24 goes to Glaminatrix Nearly Natural. I keep calling this nearly neutral, but it's nearly natural. You're gonna see. Obviously, this one is beautiful. I love this. And when I talk about exciting neutrals, hello, look at this. You have beautiful mauve tones, beautiful neutrals, greens in there. So if you're like, you know, I only ever wear brown eyeshadow, what can I do to step outside of my comfort zone? Add in an olive, add in a mauve, see what you think. Come on over to the color loving side. We'd love to have you. That's how I feel when I look at this palette. Beautiful sparkly shades, beautiful mattes. Glaminatrix makes an amazing, amazing formula, and I really love this palette. I think it's so good. Definitely one of my favorite neutral palettes. Okay, this is the first time GlamLite is making an appearance with the Barbie palette. This is number 23. This palette, I knew I wanted it because, listen, when I was little, I loved me some Barbies. I love to play outside. I had a brother. We love to be outside. We love to do all things, but I also loved my Barbie, okay? Remember, you don't have to be one or the other, right? Kids, if you're watching, you can love everything that you want to love. This palette was so unexpected because we had pinks and purples and blues. And kind of when I was first looking at the palette, this is really all I was seeing. But then when I looked at it more, I was like, oh, but look at this. These unexpected grungy yellows and this deep dark like maroon purpley shade, this deep dark teal blue adds so much like options to the palette. You can create a fall look. I did that in my video. I want to say I did 3 looks with this one. Beautiful. GlamLite's formula is so, so good. The theming I love too. And listen, I say this every time I talk about this palette. I'm going to say it again because every other brand should take note. Do you see this palette? 3 different skin tones on the palette. We love to see it. It's so, so, so important. Inclusivity. I've been filming for way too long now. We're on 23 out of what, like 80 something? Listen, there's diversity on this palette and I love it. Kudos to GlamLite. I love this palette from Natasha Denona. This is the pastel palette of my dreams, y'all. I love this one so much. Look at this. Woo, she's beautiful. Cream to powder formula, I love. Duochrome, I love. Super sparkly shades, I love. Beautiful shimmer shades, I love. This right here is a cream to powder. And this lime green, yes, 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 I love this. This is also a great companion palette. I don't normally do just very light all pastel looks. I love pulling in this palette with my deeper, darker palettes, buffing out with these, highlighting with these, starting with these, using the cream to powders as a base. Everything about this palette I love. She killed it. In fact, for next year, I would love to see a pastel part 2 where we get some other shades as well. Okay, 21. Pat McGrath, Mothership, Moonlit Seduction. I believe this was her 10th Mothership. Y'all knew this was coming in high, right? You already knew it was coming in high. These are really pretty cool toned mauves and brown. Beautiful shimmer shades. This quad right here, if you want to wear light neutral but still very pretty makeup, work, something like that, stick with these 4 shades. They got you covered. Oh, when we get to these shades though, I'm like, hallelujah, these are beautiful. This shifts from like this teal, brown, purple, so beautiful. Watch my video if you want to see the shift. I'm like, I want to swatch everything, but no. I have to eat at some point and show my family some attention. So I can't swatch everything, but this is beautiful. This silvery white, Snow Queen, Ice Queen vibes. You know, I feel like I should be in a sleigh in a winter wonderland tricking kids with my Turkish delight when I wear this shade. You know, like that's Chronicles of Narnia reference if you don't know, but you know, like that's the vibes I get. I love it. I'm here for it. And yes, I will be the villain. I don't care. All right, we're in the final 20, Leather and Lace from Unearthly Cosmetics. Color lovers, neutral lovers, unite for this palette. We have beautiful sparkly shimmer shades, some mid-tone shades, but they get progressively deeper with a deep dark black, deep dark brown, and deep dark purple. So we have warm browns, and then the colors that neutral lovers enjoy, olives and mauves. This is such a beautiful color story. I have really loved using this palette, of course, on its own, but I also really enjoy using this palette mixed with other palettes, like other shimmery, sparkly palettes. I think these mattes are so beautiful. Every shade performs beautifully. I don't have to struggle with any of these shades. They just do the job that they need to do. And I like this packaging. Listen, if you've never tried Unearthly and you're like, I just want a neutral palette, this one could be the one for you. GlamLite Frosted Flakes palette. This is so fun. When I saw this palette and they were kind of teasing GlamLite Frosted Flakes, I was like, blue, orange, I need white, I need black. They did what they needed to do. Beautiful orange tones, beautiful blues, a black and a white. It captures the Frosted Flakes vibe, and the quality is like, what's a word? Stupendous. Stupendous quality for this palette. I enjoy this one so much. I think the blues in here are incredible. The oranges are beautiful. You have very intense sparkly shadows. Overall, very cute. And of course, like, it's so cute. Okay. I'm trying to remind myself, don't talk too long. But I'm gonna, because Unearthly Cosmetics, so strange. I love this. Not only do I love the movie, I think the artist created such beautiful artwork, but look at this color story. Are you kidding me? This yellow is such a beautiful, unexpected multi-chrome that I was like, wow, because it looks yellow, right? But it is yellow, orange, peach, pink, red, fire. It is so beautiful. For this shade alone, I'd give my like right arm. I don't know. It's so pretty. And then I love that we have these really vibrant shades with this light green neon shade. I love that we have these two gray tones. This super sparkly, intense, almost like flaky multi-chrome. I mean, everything about this palette is beautiful. Not just the packaging, but the shadows inside are so incredible. Unearthly just, they keep on making amazing products. Here I have number 17, Unearthly Cosmetics Vitality Palette. This is an unexpected favorite. I mean, it's Unearthly. I knew the quality would be great, but this, beautiful. This is a mostly mattes palette, and the matte shades are so pretty. I did a video with this palette, and then I've incorporated it in several other get ready with me style videos because I find myself wanting to reach for these shades because the quality is so good. You do have 6 shimmery sparkly shades, and all of those are so beautiful and sparkly and shifty. I enjoy this so much. Now, I wouldn't say this is totally a rainbow palette because you don't have a true red shade in here, but you definitely have some beautiful pinky purples, orange, yellow, green, blue, and purple. Really pretty. I love that these are kind of like warm tone pinks and these are more cool tones. I love that we have the blues in here. I love this olive green. I feel like that's a bit unexpected for this palette, but it just really makes this palette versatile. All the shades. I love the white. I think this is so beautiful. I love the smaller pan size from Unearthly. I love the large mirror. Everything about this palette I enjoy. I really just can't say enough good things about it. Jolie Beauty Ethereality Palette. Just look at the packaging. Ethereality. I love the theme. You know it's going to be like fairies, but this is next level. This is pretty. Jolie Beauty does big palettes, but they make great quality products. The mattes in here are beautiful. Now you do have 1, 2, 3 glitter shades in here, but listen, because I see people sometimes, they're like, Heather is such and such a dupe for this Jolie Beauty. Listen, no, this palette has multi-chromes. Multi-chromes, if you're seeing like a mainstream release and you're like, oh, this one has multi-chromes. Multi-chromes, I love makeup, can you tell? And this one is so fun. Again, it goes from very light to very dark. I love that we have some light greens, some deep dark blues, deep dark greens. I love that we have these pinky purples. This was the color of the year, these blurple type of shades, right? Was that this year? Yes, I'm pretty sure. I don't know the official name, but I will say I don't like pressed glitters and palettes, but hear me now. If a pressed glitter is going to be in a palette, Jolie Beauty does it the right way. They make really nice pressed glitters that aren't flat. I'm never telling you to put a glitter on your eye. You're making your own decisions. You know, I will say I enjoy these. This is really a beautiful palette. You have different formulas. Like I said, multi-chromes, shimmers. You have some kind of smoother, more traditional shimmer shades, some very sparkly shades, some beautiful mattes. Everything you want in a palette. What else can I say? Strawberry. I've been filming too long. Somebody come and get me. This is the Strawberry Shortcake GlamLite Berrylicious palette. My childhood. Listen, I'm 35. This was hitting right in my childhood. I know this was not a cartoon all over the world. I've loved y'all telling me, though, if you're from another country, what Strawberry Shortcake is in your country, in your language. Several of y'all told me. I think there was one from Brazil. Y'all told me her name. Like, so cute, and I love that. So definitely, if you want to tell me again, or maybe you didn't do that when you watched my GlamLite video, tell me, like, did you have Strawberry Shortcake in your country? The most adorable cartoon. When I saw this collection, I was like, you're getting me in the feels, GlamLite, even more so than Barbie. I'm like, strawberry. Oh, I love. Okay, I'm done. Look at this color. Am I done? No, but this color story. Pinks and greens. Do you want me to dupe this palette? Because I can't. Can you get the vibes? This is the thing. When I say like, oh, you can't dupe this, I'm not saying like, you have to buy this thing. Never. If you're happy with what you have, I'm over the moon happy for you. For me, this palette is very special, and that's why I say that, because I'm like, okay, for me, I don't have a dupe to this in my collection. Greens, pinks, berries, beautiful. We love her. This palette has a very special formula in this almost like topper-like shade, very sparkly, with these beautiful intense metallics, duochromes, shifty shades, all of the mattes. out of this world beautiful. I just love that we have this bright, sparkly shade for an inner corner. It makes the palette so versatile, and I love it. I love it. I love it. That's why it's in the top 15. Number 14 goes to Oden's Eye Soliman palette. Is this the first time Oden's Eye is making an appearance? Yes. We talked about my friend Angie's palette at the beginning because, of course, I love that one. Of course I do. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. This palette, so pretty. This one I'm pretty sure keeps selling out, and I'm not surprised. I love the packaging. I love the sun and moon. I love moons. If you ever came to my house, you're going to see moons represented a lot in my decor because I really like it. So I love the packaging, but the color story inside is out of this world good. This row down here, fire. It's fire to me. It's the spark that grows into the flame that then smolders to an ember. Love that for me. Love these purpley tones. Love these blue tones. This shade right here. This shade right here. You see it? You see it? You see it? Neptune. There's something about it that every time I open this palette, I'm like dipping my brush into it. And I'm like, Heather, chill. Stop with that shade. You've used it in every look. But it calls to me. It speaks to me. It's like, use me, Heather. Use me. It's so pretty. The shimmers are beautiful. The sparkles are beautiful. Everything about this palette I love. I love. I love. I love it. Okay, the weirdos. The weirdos. I know Unearthly is bringing back some of their Halloween launches. I know that. They have said that. The weirdos. Oh, she's so good. She's so good. She's so good. I love the packaging, the movie, all of it. You know, who doesn't? This one. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? This is so pretty. Oh my gosh. More multi-chrome goodness in here. This shade, Insane, Out of This World multi-chrome shift. This beautiful, beautiful sparkle shade. I actually took this with me. I needed to do my makeup in the car. I forget where me and my husband were going, but I brought this and I did my makeup in the car because I'm like, it's going to be beautiful. Like, they blend easily. I'm going to get a multi-chrome. Like, I'm going to be looking fab, even though I'm doing my makeup in the car, because the quality of this palette is so good. Look at this. Right. Well, I have the palette turned. So this row right here, stunning. Stick to 3 shades. Stick to each row. Stick to the 3 shades. You're going to create a beautiful look. You don't have to think about it. It's gorgeous. Turn it. Stick to the rows. Stick to whatever you want to do. The quality is so good. Listen, Halloween launches were killing it this year. Killing it this year. Next is another Unearthly, Dead of Night. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. This is number 12. Okay, this is a newer release to Unearthly. This is very special. I was saying in my video on this, I want to say I did 3 looks with this one. I was like, oh, I don't know how to describe this shade. Like, if you're just looking at it in the pan, yes, I can describe it. You're like, it's pewter or nickel. But what I'm talking about when I say I can't describe it is because it has different reflex in this shimmer. Not that I don't know this color name, but that the base color is there, yes. But when you put it on, it has these different reflex of like blue, purple, silver. It's just a very interesting shade. And I love when I find palettes with unique shades. So special. I love that we have these navies. I love that this is such a cool leaning palette. I love the 2 pops of greens that we have. I feel like that's unexpected for this palette. This shade right here, I love you. Be mine. It is mine. I'm happy. I'm happy with it. It's that good. So every single shade in this palette, there's not a single dud. It's gorgeous. All right, 11. Lunar Beauty Nude Prism. This neutral palette is so good. Hear me. Hear me when I say packaging 10 out of 10. Beautiful. Like, what are these, cherry blossoms? Beautiful. We love that. But look at these neutrals. They go from light to dark. We have 12 beautiful mattes that are pigmented but easy to blend. You do not, I talked about shadows earlier that you have to work at. No. Pigment with blendability. We love it. We love to see it. Light to dark, we love to see it. Pinky tones, warm tone browns, poopy colored browns, deep dark shades. We love that versatility in neutrals. I love very light shimmers, pinky tone shimmers, bronze shimmers, goldy shimmers. I love it. It's such a good neutral palette. It's such a good neutral palette. It's ranking palettes is so hard, but I love this one so much. It's such a good neutral palette. Top 10. We got there, y'all. We made it. I have to give it to Sigma, Disney, and Alice in Wonderland. This is so beautiful. Actually, I want to say I saw this at Beauty Bay too. For those of y'all that were interested in picking it up at another retailer, I'm pretty sure it was Beauty Bay. I'll link it down below. Y'all, well, the insert fell out. I'll grab that. Look at this. Oh, this is the colorful Alice in Wonderland palette of my dreams. I love Alice in Wonderland. All the movies, all the books, everything. This is so good. Sigma knocked it out of the park with this one. The formulas they gave us are so fun. So, of course, we have these beautiful mattes. And I love that we have colorful mattes and a brown matte. Versatility. This green shimmer, so unexpected. This beautiful shade, Cheshire. Love, love, love it. I love this quad right here, but these 6 shades, they have my heart, y'all. They have my heart. I love the embossings on the pan with Alice, the white rabbit. This shade right here, though, gorgeous. I'm going to use it every time I open this palette. It's like this black, blue, purpley, sparkly shade that I love. This one is so good. I cannot rave enough about it. I need to chill. I need to stop. Look how pretty it is. That's why it's coming in so high. Beautiful packaging, beautiful price point, beautiful formulas, beautiful color story, everything beautiful. Natasha Denona, my dream. Yeah, my dream palette from Natasha Denona. Oh, Natasha did such a good job with this one. Oh, I love this. I love this. Neutral tones with color with a multi-chrome. I love a multi-chrome. I'm going to say it over and over. I love a multi-chrome. I love that we have deep dark shades. I love these cream to powder shades. I love that we have this super sparkly intense shade. I love that we have these beautiful shimmer shades. I feel like I can create a variety of looks. I can create something light and breezy and effortless. I can create something deep and dark and dramatic. I can create something neutral. I can create something with more color. Overall, I really love this. I really love the cheek palette that she came out in this collection too. I think it's so good. But this palette, y'all, I can't say enough about it. It's so beautiful. If you... I'm never going to tell y'all to buy anything. Never, never, never. You're on a low buy or no buy. Stay strong. You can do it, but I love. Okay, number 8 goes to Minka from Adept. This palette is perfection personified. I love this luxe packaging. And then tell me this is not a party in a palette. Look at this. It's a party in a palette. This shade right here, Linda, is one of the prettiest multi-chromes I've ever seen. It's got so much sparkle to it. All of these shades are so incredibly sparkly, and I love, love, love the formula and the color choice of these 2 purple mattes. I love that we get a light and a deep. That, so pretty. Use this palette by itself. Use it with other palettes. Every single time I wear this palette, I get compliments. And not just, your eyeshadow is pretty. It's your eyeshadow is pretty. Thank you. No, what are you wearing? And I have to, I wear this palette actually a lot to work. I like to sparkle and shine at work, okay? Like, listen, I don't sleep anyways. Why not get up and do my makeup? This palette's so beautiful. Throw this in the crease. Throw one of these on the lid, one on the inner corner. Deepen up this. Use this shade as eyeliner. Out the door, you're good to go. You look fabulous. And it didn't take long. It's so pretty. I love the tones that we have. Like I said, these multi-chromes, out of this world, beautiful. But I love that we have so many neutral, shimmer, sparkly shades. It's so beautiful. One of my favorite, I mean, I'm like, it's one of my favorites. Of course it is. Like you see, out of all the palettes I chose this year, it's at the top. It's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. Y'all know I love Adept. Of course you do. Like, I made a palette with Adept, but that palette, so gorgeous. Okay, Blend Bunny all done up. This one, so good. Again, neutral and color lovers can unite over this palette. I love this smaller format. See how big it is compared to my hand? The shimmers in this palette, Blend Bunny, you did something. Keep it up because these are so good. This shade right here, Shine, is so pretty. It has so many different sparkles. All of these are beautiful, but this shade right here, I'm like, ooh, I like you. The mattes are beautiful. We have these like dirty khaki mattes, these warm mattes right here. Then we have a little bit of yellow, then we have a little bit of green and a little bit of gray, and I like that. Cool tone looks, warmer looks, you can do that. Some color, you got what you need in this palette. Again, with the dark row, we have a black, a green, a more neutral leaning brown, a more burgundy brown, and a little more cool leaning brown. Beautiful palette, beautiful formulas. I love that we have a matte white. I love that we have a matte black. Count how many times I say that in this video. It's such a good palette. It's so beautiful. Blend Bunny, they are consistently making amazing products. I love them. GlamLite Scooby-Doo coming in at number 6. I love these. These are so fun. I've done videos on YouTube, also on Instagram with a lot of these palettes, honestly, because I love Scooby-Doo and GlamLite. I hope they collab with Scooby-Doo again next year because this was so amazing. So let's talk about these individually. This is the Creeps and Crawls palette. So beautiful purpley and teal blue shades. I love that we have a navy. I love that we have this matte light purple shade. I love that the palette is half matte, half shimmers. These palettes are so good. And then we have Retro Raggy. Greens and blues. Hello, I love it. Again, half matte, half shimmer. The shimmers are so foiled, metallic, wet, sparkly. Look at these. Did y'all pick these up? I would love to know. I would love to know as I talk about these palettes, if you have them, what you think about them, because these are so amazing. So good. I actually love putting these together and mixing them. I love that we have the villains on the inside of the palette too. Like, it's so fun. We have the heroes. Well, let me turn. Okay. Look, you see the villains on the inside, and then of course we have the heroes on the outside. It's just so fun, and the packaging is so luxe. Like, it's fun, it's themed, it's around a kid's cartoon. I loved Scooby-Doo as a kid. Like, a mystery, I love it. I love solving it. I remember when my kid was little, getting Scooby-Doo books, like, so fun. And this is raised, so you can feel the bats, you can feel the Scooby-Doo, and you can tell that GlamLite really went that extra mile with the packaging. It's a very, very nice, luxurious, but still fun and whimsical packaging. Number 5, of course, goes to the Oden's Eye Holiday Palettes. Y'all knew these were coming, right? Because these are so incredible. I'm so glad that after these sold out, even though they were limited edition, I'm so glad that Oden's Eye opened up a pre-order and they kept it open long enough for everybody who wanted these to get these. And I'm so happy about that because I know these sold out fast on the first launch, and I was like, oh, those sold out so fast. They're so good. Let's start with this one. So, Christmas Eve palette, blues and cool tones. Hello, I love you, won't you tell me? And yeah, okay, this is gorgeous. This is so gorgeous. The blues, I love. Multichrome, I love. Silvery grays, love. What's a word bigger than love? I adore this palette. I love that we have the yellow. I love that we have this bronzy gold. I love the purpley tones. Everything about this, the formula is next level. The mattes are smooth, blendable, easy to apply, pigmented, no issues. There's multichrome, there's shimmer, there's sparkle. There's so much fun here. I love eyeshadows that have different texture. I just think that makes them so interesting. Y'all see my little post-it note on the back. I told y'all I'm working hard to keep up with these numbers now. And then we have Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. So Oden's is a Swedish indie brand, and I just feel like they nailed it with the packaging. I think it's so fun. I've never been to Sweden, but I definitely get the vibes with this palette. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. This is beautiful, and you know it's beautiful. This top half, we have these beautiful green shades. We have that multi-chrome sparkly green up top, and then this bottom half is so unexpected with this red. I love you. I love you. I have a black. I have a deep dark red. I have a more like peachy orange brown shade for a neutral. Shifty shades, very sparkly shades. Like this is like this flaky shadow that is so incredibly beautiful. This shade, like these two shades right here, so saturated. This one's so muted and washed out that I love. I love the tones. Oden's Eye. Please do this next year. Give me a part 2. I want to see what your beautiful minds can create, what formulas you're coming out with. I can't wait. Oh, I love you. An unexpected palette. I know so many of y'all are like waiting. I bet a lot of y'all guessed my top 20, I'm sure. Cosmic Brush's Serenity palette. This palette, to me, like came out of nowhere. I wasn't even checking for this brand. And then I saw swatches on Instagram and I was like, hold up, wait a minute, take my money. This, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Woo, this is a UK-based indie brand. This palette swatches beautifully. Yes, it does. The swatches they posted, beautiful. But the true test of shadow is how it performs on the eyes. Every single shade in here is beautiful. I've had to tell myself, stop using this, Heather, use something else with all of these top palettes because I love this one so much. This shade up here, Opal, is so shifty and beautiful. The shimmers in here are very sparkly. There are not many shimmers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The rest are mattes. These mattes and these shimmers are out of this world. The matte shades, like, and this palette, I think is priced under $30. That's crazy. That's crazy talk. The black in here, the greens, this navy, this blue is so deep and dark and beautiful and easy to work with. These blue greens, everything about this I love. Everything about this I love. I cannot wait to see what this brand does next. I'm so happy they've been restocking and restocking and restocking. I know it sells out fast, but that's the way it is sometimes with indie brands. They only have so much that they can do, but I'm so happy they've been restocking and restocking this palette. It's so incredibly beautiful. It's such a pretty color story. I love it. No wonder it's at number 4. Beaute Bar. I love you so much. This palette, strange and unusual, coming in at the number 3 spot. Of course, these top 10 are all favorites for me. That's the hard part about ranking is it's like, how do you rank your favorites? You know, like it's my favorite. But the ranking, it could change tomorrow. It could change next week. It could, you know, but it's fun. It's fun to do a ranking. I sat down, I made myself do it. So number 3, we have strange and unusual. I need to stop gushing over these palettes. Y'all know I love these. The mattes in here are beautiful. This is such a fun color story. Don't play with me. Look at these olive grungy tones. Look at this neon. A neon, are you kidding me? Multi-chromes in here. Intense, crazy, over-the-top, sparkly shades. Are you kidding me? White. This black, this is special. This is a special black. This is a matte black with a blue and purple and green sparkle to it. So special. This shade right here is a black to purple shifting shade with a lot of sparkle. We have this red orange multi-chrome here. We have this shade down here, another multi-chrome. Everything about this palette I love. I love Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice. I call, he never appears. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I love this palette though. Oh my gosh, this one is so good. It's insanely good, y'all. It's so good. I love this palette. This is another one that I'm like, stop. Stop, Heather. Stop using this. And I just feel so inspired when I look at this. So many multi-chromes, so many shimmery shades, so much sparkle, so many good mattes. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I'm strange and unusual, and I love you. 2. House of L from Adept. Y'all knew this was coming, right? This could be number 1. Number 1 could be number 2, vice versa, but they had to come somewhere. House of L. This is Adept's first 9-pan palette. Obviously, I love this. The mattes, so easy to use, so beautiful, so easy to blend, so pigmented, and there's versatility in these mattes. I love this green shade, I love this orange shade, and I love this peachy shade because you can really use this to buff out either one of these shades, in my opinion, in my experience. I did a video with this palette, of course, but then I also did a 7 looks video where I mixed a lot of my Adept palettes. This palette is so fun. I love these 2 light, like, the multi-chromes are out of this world. This shade right here, I have a feeling this is going to be in a lot of people's top palettes of the year for people who love multi-chromes, because this palette has multi-chromes. They're beautiful. I love this fiery shade. But this shade right here, every time I wear it, I love it. Like, it's so pretty. I'm like, can I take a bath in this color? Can I put this color all over my face? Can I just be this shadow? It's that beautiful. It's so easy to apply. I'm sure you can see how much use I've gotten out of this palette because I just enjoy it so much. I would love to see more palettes like this 9-pan format from Adept. And this was a limited edition. I don't know if it's still in stock, but I know it was limited, but they've brought it back several times so people could get their hands on it because it's amazing. It's so amazing. Also, just wanted to take a second and show y'all. I try to mention this when I can. This is a little magnetic tool. I will link it down below. But the Adept pans are magnetic and the name is printed on the back. Same with my collab palette. If you want to pop out, take your Adept palettes, pop out the shades, make your own custom palette, you can do that. So Kal-El is printed on the back. Did I say this is like a Superman themed palette? Without being over the top Superman, we love that. But you can mix these around just like with my palette. You want to pop out the shade Austin in my palette and move it to another palette, you can, and it has the name on the back already. Genius, genius, genius. This palette, I love. I want to tell all these palettes, I love you. Stay with me forever. Like, oh, it's so beautiful. Top drawer palette. I love pulling that palette in with other mattes, using it on its own, mixing it with my palette. Love. Number 1 is, of course, the palette that I'm wearing on my eyes today, and that is Unearthly Cosmetics Warms My Blood. Unearthly did say they are bringing this palette back. It's not available right now, but they said it will be making a return, and I'm so happy because, first of all, I want to be her, okay? We love the movie. We love her. But Warms My Blood, take all the fancy packaging aside. You see the color story. You see it. Oh my gosh. Neutrals and colors unite to create this beautiful, amazing palette. What can I say? What can I say? I love this one so much. The reds, love. Of course, I'm wearing the purples and the blacks and the multi-chromes today. Y'all see this on my eyes? I have multiple videos with this palette. It's that amazing. I love that I have neutral warm browns. I love that I have a gray if I want to do a very cool tone look. I love that I have white. I love that I have a black. I love that this palette is half matte and half sparkle because we do have some really pretty shimmer. We have some super intense sparkle, and we have some multi-chrome with this palette. Not only do the mattes go light to dark, but the shimmers go light to dark as well, and I love that. Of course, what am I wearing today? Betrayal, Resurrect, Forsaken, Queen, Awaken, Charms. Those are the main colors that I'm wearing today in case you want to recreate something like I have on, because I feel so good in this look. I don't know how long I've been filming, but my husband was like coming up here and he was like, ooh, I like. And I'm like, but you came up here to tell me something. distracting. And he is making me some dinner, and I'm like, oh yes, I'm gonna be wearing this look with my baby, and it's so pretty. This palette is so pretty. Okay, I got off on a tangent because I'm thinking about my husband. This palette, it's the best. I love it. I want to use it all the time. I don't get bored with it. I can create a sultry look with this palette, all neutrals, or I can create color like I have on today. I love the reds and the purples. I love the grays. I love the warm browns. I love the multi-chromes. I love the shift. I love the sparkle. I love the shine. I love the packaging. I love the mirror. I love everything about this palette. So pretty. Even this purple, it may just look metallic to you, but it is shifty and so sparkly and intense and unexpected, and I love, and I love, and I love, and I love. Let me know. Ooh, that was a long one. Like I said, I do have some all multi-chrome sparkly shifty palettes to talk about too, but I thought this would fit best in my yearly favorites video that will be coming very soon. Please subscribe, stick around. I would love to have you. Let me know. Do you like rankings? Do you want me to keep ranking my palettes every year? Because this was hard, but so fun. Oh my gosh, it's so fun to rank because it's like working on a puzzle, right? It's hard, but it's like satisfying at the same time to be like this. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Please do subscribe if you haven't yet. Let me know your favorite palette from the year. Even if you didn't buy any new makeup at all this year, I would love to know, what are you using? Is bronzer in your crease your favorite eye product of the year? Let me know. I want to hear from y'all. I love hearing what you have to say. We can all have different opinions and preferences, and we can all be friends. I do want to tell you what's on my lips because editing Heather is not going to remember. I'm wearing Give Beauty flannel liquid lipstick and NYX Netflix Beatrix gloss. These glosses, you're going to see them in the yearly favorites, as well as other things I'm wearing on my face. This is the Kaleidos blush. I'll put the name in the description box or a pinned comment or something. Jaclyn Cosmetics bronzer and Bella Beauty Bar Oracle Chrome highlighter palette. You're going to see all of those in a future favorites video. Just FYI, spoiler alert. I'm so tired. I am so hungry. It's time for me to go watch a Christmas movie, eat some dinner. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. So thankful for all of y'all. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow in a new video. Bye!